action depicted in this brochure is potentially dangerous. Wait a second. What action? It's a kid sitting on a bike. The brochure also warns the writers seen are experts or professionals. Come on, why would a company say that?
Because they're scared. They're so scared that on this simple dust mask they write,
Warning, does not supply oxygen. Why would anyone think it would? It's got no tubes attached to it, no oxygen tank. This is a stupid warning.
But they write this because the companies are so scared of these guys.
459 cash. Get what's yours.
Get what's yours. I'll squeeze them for every dime I can.
In America today, we've got too much law.
The worst places in the world to live are countries where they don't have rule of law. You never know when you're safe. You never build anything because your neighbor or some dictator might just steal what you make. So thank goodness we have lawyers and law. But we don't need this much law. These are the rules the federal government churned out just last year, and this is just the feds, these 80,000 pages. Local governments added more. This kills people's ability to live their lives normally, to use common sense, to make their own decisions without fear of being punished constantly. So says Philipa Howarda anyway, and he wrote a bestseller called The Death of Common Sense. So what do you mean the death of common sense?
Well, law has literally made common sense illegal for many daily choices, especially for people with responsibility, whether the teacher in the classroom trying to maintain order or the president trying to approve a power line.
What do you mean the teacher in the classroom?
Teachers have lost the ability to maintain order in the classroom because there's so much, quote, due process and so many procedures they have to follow to prove that Johnny threw the pencil first, that now they're scared to maintain order.
And I've heard they're also scared to touch a child because so many of them get accused of abuse or sexual molestation.
Right. It's the rule today in America that you're not allowed to touch a child. You can't put an arm around a crying child. You can't actually hold on to a child disrupting the classroom.
Teachers are advised by their union, don't do that. Just let the child cry.
That's absolutely correct.
And we have this one example from St. Petersburg, Florida. A 5-year-old girl had a tantrum. She was out of control.
Pick up the pieces.
She has her arms out, but won't really just grab her and stop her.
No, it's like it's an assistant principal actually, and it's like a linebacker drill. She's trying to sort of shade around her that way, but not actually touch her because the rule is you can't touch.
And so she holds her arm out like a linebacker for a while, and eventually she calls the cops.
And the cops come and they put the 5-year-old in handcuffs. Now, is that better for the child? And that happened, that is now the rule in America. It happened a couple of weeks ago in Queens. There's stories every month of a young child getting put in handcuffs because the teachers and principals don't feel they have the authority to restrain, just to hold on to the child, to keep them from being disrupted.
What else is destroyed by fear of lawsuits?
No big employer will give a job reference anymore in America. They'll just say, well, we confirm that so-and-so worked from this, this time to that time.
So if you fired me because I was stupid and lazy, and I'm applying to you for a job, and they say, what's Stossel like? You don't say Stossel's stupid and lazy.
Right. You don't say anything. In fact, a few years ago, a person who was really genuinely strange, a nurse in a hospital, was continually fired for strange behavior, being in the wrong rooms and stuff. They found out later he had murdered 47 people. And if anyone had just said, this guy's a real weirdo, don't hire him, he would not have been able to get away with murder.
But nobody says anything because the Human Resources Department says, We might get a labor lawsuit. Even if we say something good and then he turns out bad, we might get sued. If we say something bad, the employee might sue.
Exactly.
So just say, yes, he worked here.
Just say nothing. And then there are a list of questions you're not allowed to, I'm not allowed to ask in my firm, interviewees, like this one, which is really brimming with innuendo. Where are you from?
You can't ask that because it might violate.
Well, because I might say it, and you could say anything in a rude way. Where are you from? Or something like that. I mean, you can do anything badly, but the whole idea of writing rules in advance to cover every situation is truly the death of common sense. People can't do their jobs.
Now, we see when we read about these lawsuits the gains. We see the headline, injured person, little girl terribly injured, family gets $1 million. But what we don't see are the side effects. One example, a jury recently awarded $6 million to someone who broke his leg sledding in Greenwich, Connecticut. But the result was that the town then decided no more sledding for anybody.
Go to any playground in America. I challenge you to find a seesaw, a jungle gym, a high slide, anything that would attract a kid over the age of 5. Because all of those things not only involve the risk, but the certainty that occasionally there'll be an accident. They also teach kids how to take care of themselves. They attract kids to the playground so they don't get fat playing their Game Boys. They're incredibly important for child development. But you won't see them in America's playgrounds anymore because of fear of litigation.
And even when you win, you lose.
You lose. It doesn't matter. 9 out of 10 juries could go your way. No one will take the risk of the 1 out of 10 coming out with a verdict for $2 million, and so everything is ripped out.
So many politicians are lawyers. Shouldn't surprise me that they churn this out every year. 80,000 pages of new rules every year. It's just on the federal level. Now, it's intuitive to lawyers that more rules improve life, that you can manipulate life with paper and procedure, but they're wrong. This spider web of rules cripples life, makes people afraid to trust their common sense. It makes everyone a potential lawsuit target. But that doesn't stop the politicians. They keep passing more of these rules, this many every day. And lawyers take those rules and use them to enrich themselves. So you'd think with all that money, you'd want one in your family. And yet when we ask people, do you want your child to become a lawyer? Some said this.
If you came to me and said, I want to be a lawyer, I'd say, what did I do wrong?
It's just kind of scary when you think about all the things that you could carry to court.
Not all of them are bad, but
we should have fewer lawyers. That would be a much better world.
Yes, it would be. We'll never have life without lawyers, but fewer would be good. Fewer lawsuits would be very good. We should have the English rule. No, I shouldn't call it that. It's a lawyer trick that has us calling it the English rule, the rule that says if I sue you and lose, I should have to pay your legal fees, pay for some of the damage I caused you, just some. But it's not the English rule, it's the rest of the world rule. Most every country has it except America. And America has the highest legal costs. Everything we buy costs more to pay for the lawyers, especially life-saving products. A company that makes pacemakers says lawsuits add thousands of dollars to the cost of each pacemaker. But the millions the lawyers take from us, the money isn't the worst part. Worse is the fear of lawsuits that robs us of much of the best stuff in life. The fear makes preachers and teachers afraid to hug a crying child, drives doctors to do tests and even surgeries that don't need to be done. And the fear of lawsuits cripples innovation. The FDA has approved a vaccine against Lyme disease. That would be good. You want some of it? Forget about it. No company will sell it because they might get sued. Companies stopped producing a pain-reducing silicone coating for hypodermic needles. Company directors said, we're sure our product is safe, but we don't want to risk a lawsuit. For every person that lawyers help, they hurt thousands more. We'll never have life without lawyers, but I'd like to look forward to having more of life without them. America's supposed to be about liberty.